I mean, a lot did happen in this episode of JoJo. A lot happened. I mean, we got to actually see Killer Queen's actual special ability. The way he actually turned anything he touches into a bomb. Turns that 100 yen, something seemingly normal, into a bomb and actually blows up Shigechi to a point where he actually gets disfigured. He's not killed, he gets disfigured. It's just a second time round. When Shigechi was trying to get the Dulcet to actually fix him, that whole entire scene actually broke me. Literally, it did. I was like, God, that actually made me feel for Shigechi. You did a perfect job there with production, literally you did. I mean, it was perfectly handled because the way the soundtrack melded with that scene was beyond phenomenal. The way you can see in his cries that he was going to protect his mother and his father from that filthy man Kira. You could sense it in his voice, and when he fell down and those three girls came up to him and said, well, he's in a bad way. And then one of the girls actually says, we should get a teacher, he seems really, really bad. And the other girl goes, no, leave him alone, he's creepy. I was like, why? Why? It's just those final moments when he tries to get to Josuke and he actually sees Josuke, like, who's in the reflection? Bloody Kira. I was like, oh no, and he basically says, look, guess what, mate? The door was a bomb. I was like, no, it blew up. He freaking blew up. And I must say, Killer Queen's special ability of turning anything normal into a bomb is bloody terrifying because anything could kill you. You just don't know. You can actually understand now why no one knows the identity of Kira, because he destroys them without a trace. Like, they're gone, never to exist ever again. And that final moment where Josuke and Okuyasu actually see Harvest have the button in his hand, it was depressing. Literally, it was. I was crying. I was like, wow, they did that perfectly. It all changed once Kira asked Shigechi about the other stand users in Morio. Once he actually asked him about that, it all changed because he was like, I don't know. But then when he said, look, if you don't tell me right now, I will actually kill your parents. In essence, your parents will actually get implicated into this as well. And then at that point, he can actually understand completely what his kind of character is. You understand he is someone who protects his family. He's someone who doesn't want anything bad to happen to his mum or papa. And in the end, he basically says, look, they're actually looking for a killer. You're that killer. You're the one that killed Reimi Sugimoto, aren't you? And he's like, Reimi? And then basically after that point, Shigechi actually manages to escape. But it's to no avail because the second time round, when Kira actually appears, Kira basically says, look, no one will ever find me. No one will know my identity because I destroy people without a trace. And then in the end, what happens is Shigechi blows up. And I have to actually give note. There is one scene in this episode which I could not ever thought their productions in any way, shape or form. They handled that scene perfectly. They juxtapose this whole entire idea, this heavenly feeling, with this quite depressing, this anguish feeling, this hellish thing that Shigechi is going through. When Reimi actually sees Shigechi go up to heaven, it's presented with this quite angelic soundtrack in the background as he's ascending up to heaven. Holy freaking Christ. They changed that scene so freaking well. He starts to disintegrate. Literally, he just combusts and just disappears. In essence, it juxtaposes this whole idea of this heavenly feeling once you ascend to heaven with this whole entire idea, this whole hellish anguish feeling that Shigechi's going through, the screaming that he's going through, which then sends our protagonist, everyone who's actually appeared in part 4, to actually where Reimi is. And basically Reimi fills him in saying, look, that kid's dead. He's gone. Literally, he doesn't exist anymore. I know what happened to him. He actually met that guy that killed me as well. I was like, freaking hell. But there's a silver lining. There is one thing that could actually fix this whole entire situation. What happens is, as I said before, the last moment Josuke and Okuyasu see Harvest, he's actually holding a button. This button was from the coat of Kira. And this is a silver lining. Jotaro says, I heard you picked up a button. Can you show me it? He basically says, let me keep that button, I'll do some research. So it kind of allows for this silver lining, this whole entire idea. There might be a good outcome to this quite hellish despair that all these characters are going through. Yes, none of the characters want to see him go. In essence, Josuke puts it perfectly. He was a greedy person, a greedy little punk. But we didn't want to see this happen to him. In essence, nothing like this was meant to happen. But it now puts it into gear. It puts this whole entire idea. Now we must hunt down Kira. And there's that last scene when Koichi sees Jotaro. That whole entire scene just kind of perspective, this whole silver lining. When they actually go to the actual shoe shop, it has to be a tailor as well. And they actually go in there, and the bloke, who's actually running the business, actually has Kira's jacket. The button belongs to Kira's jacket. They actually find the jacket, but they need to find the name. And it's this time in between him actually revealing who the name is. In essence, they don't find out the name, because in the end, Killer's Queen's second bomb appears, and after that point, it just goes back to crap again, because the guy literally explodes, and it leaves us not knowing whether or not the actual protagonists, Koichi and Jotaro, actually know the name of Kira. Because again, it's the one thing you got to understand with Kira's character. No one will ever know his name, because he leaves no traces. Literally, that one moment where he's about to leave a trace, he doesn't leave a trace in the end. It literally goes in his way. I was like, God damn it. This episode was intense. Literally it was. I didn't expect this episode, but A Productions, you did a fantastic job. You are a beautiful dwang of a studio. I must say, I love you guys. You literally do such a bang out job every single goddamn week, and this episode was no different. This episode, I can honestly say, was the best episode of JoJo Part 4. I mean, it had everything. It had despair. But it's just, I have no idea what's going to happen next. Now we know there's actually a second form of Killer Queen. It puts into perspective this whole entire idea that this whole entire town of Morio is doomed. We just don't know what's going to happen next. It really just puts into perspective this whole entire idea of, like, not knowing who it could actually be. Again, it could literally be anyone. A standard can be anyone in this town, just no one knows. It could be someone innocent. You just don't know. Anyone innocent could be suspicious. You just don't freaking know, and it's terrifying. This whole entire idea. And the fact they almost came close to knowing who Kira was, and it just went away. It was horrible. Must also mention that entire scene when Kira gets his second victim with a hand. It was... oh, it was terrifying as well. Also, that whole entire scene with Sagechi, when he actually kind of like touches his blood on his neck and actually puts it in his mouth, it was horrible. Literally, it was. It was disgusting. I hate this character so much. The VA does such a good job portraying him. It's beyond belief. It's phenomenal. I love it. So yes, with all that said, I have been the driver. If you have enjoyed the video as a whole and do leave a like, do leave a like, because it does indeed help me quite a bit. If you have enjoyed my content as a whole and you do leave a sub, do leave a sub, because it does help me quite a bit. But with all that said, I'm having a driver, and I shall see you guys later.